Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Festa, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Monday, March 30th, as we close out the first quarter of 2026. Man, there's a lot of stuff going. Not as much as we'd like, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about here, my friends. Even circling back on that missing UFO general, McCaslin. We'll figure out what's going on with that, my friends. On that note, let's go ahead and get things started here. Let's welcome in our audience. Who in the heck do we have out there? Let's take a look and see. All right, read off alphabetically. If you want me to say hi, say something in the chat. Amanda's there, as well as Anne Marie. I got Dan Lebrev, D. Anderson. Good to see you, Firefly. We got Geraldine DeRazio. GSB is out there along with J-Cat Meow. We've got John E. Gledhill. Good to see you, John. Who else is popping up there? Let's take a look. Firefly is out there along with Kathy. Kick-Ass Sporty. Let's welcome Mark in, and Megan, and Mystery Media. Good to see you, Nathan Forrest, and Necessary Dialogue, and our resident Pitbull. Literally, look at him. It's Niles Guy. He's here. Good to see you, my friend. One Infected is out there along with Prism Films US. Push King's here. Can't wait for this live show to get started. Who else is out there? We got Roni Deal, Robert Vargas. Let's welcome in Sam, Scooby Dooby Gooby. Steve Mateo's out there along with Supercharged Land Cruiser. We got Teresa. Good to see you, my dear lady. The Coin 405. The Demons out there. I'll leave it at that. Wolf Dog and Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. How about that? Everyone's in. Let's jump into the studio and figure out where the hell is our dear friend. Oh, where is that at? Mike. Oh, I can't hit. God, I can't. Just kick in. Here we go. Mike.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. This is going to be an interesting Monday. There's a lot to talk about, and I think the audience will appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd hope so. We do try. We do try to bring out the truth and cover what's going on. In one of our first clips we're getting into, besides, we got another couple clips here. The latest one is coming out from Representative... God, I can see his face right in front of me. Not Tim Burton. Yeah, Representative Eric Burleson. My God, my mind just did a complete blank looking at this guy. He looks like a new guy. He must be on Ozempic, I tell you. My concern. But we've already heard from Representative Tim Burchett, who said they wanted to do a deep dive and figure out what's going on with McCaslin. And now we've got Burleson coming out and saying, yeah, Congress is getting involved to figure out what's going on. Now, before we jump into this, Mike, one of the things we've been talking about with everybody in the back, that it's kind of, my spider sense went off on today thinking about this, considering one of our friends in the back has drug up at least 20 scientists now, or people involved with different programs that have gone missing or have been found dead, et cetera, et cetera. It reminds me, Mike, of the third body problem, the book that Lou Elizondo pointed out to all of us a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Where all the different scientists were all getting a message, and if something was going to happen, they were going to die within 24 hours. And it was all the scientists who could potentially, deal with the problem, and they were being eliminated.
Right. We seem to have something similar to that going on right here, right now.
Yeah.
In real life.
Absolutely truth, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go ahead and get this one tweet up here, this one news story we've got coming to us from Fox News. What are we getting into? Yeah, scientists. Okay, so let's just get this up. I don't need to give an intro. We kind of talked about all that. Let's get this first video up here for all of us, coming to us from our friends over at Fox News. All right, let's find the right place that I can bring up, and let's go ahead and enjoy this video coming to us from X. Let's make it a little bit larger. We don't need to see I'll leave it like that. Here we go, friends. Volume up. Wait, but hold on a second, Mike. We do have some super chats coming in. I want to go ahead and thank the audience for throwing them out there. It's been dry lately, so I want to thank the people that have thrown some super chats at us. Oh, let's get to this one here. I've got, where's the other one at? I thought they showed it here. Top chat. fan funding. I want to go ahead and thank someone from the first put out a super chat. Brendan England, thank you very much, my friend. $10 Australian. You know, with the way gas is going and everything, and the gas shortages that are in Australia and everywhere, it goes a long way. Thank you very much, Brendan. I also want to thank Peggy and Steve from Florida, our Miami friends, and also Mr. Catfish 2100. They hunt us down, but ETs are protecting. So I want to thank everybody for the wonderful support of Disclosure tonight. We're a fan-funded program, and thank you for chipping in. So let's get to this. Here we go, folks. All right. Sorry for the delay.
Seriously disappearing, and now U.S. congressmen are looking for answers. Within a span of 8 months, 2 major figures in the Air Force Research Lab vanished without a trace. Monica Reza, a rocket scientist, went missing while hiking in Los Angeles back in June, and retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCaslin, who reportedly oversaw classified space weapons programs and has been described as a, quote, UFO expert, disappeared from his home on February 27th. Meanwhile, another 3 scientists were either murdered or found dead in just the last 3 months, including an astrophysicist credited with discovering water on a distant planet, and an MIT scientist whose research reportedly may be tied to secret UFO technology. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett tells the Daily Mail that he sees a clear pattern in these disappearances and deaths, noting their work has been linked to theories about alien spacecraft. Here with the reaction is Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson, who is a member of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets. Congressman, thank you for joining us. You know, a lot of people are going to hear alien UFO, they're going to roll their eyes. So let's tackle it from this. These are some of the nexus that these people, I think it's up to 8 now, with 2 or 3 kind of being maybe a murder-suicide. But I think it's up to 8 that have some sort of connection to specific places, like I believe it's Los Alamos, the lab there. And so to the very least, these are people who were working in or recently administrators on tech that we're still trying to figure out, whether it's nuclear or dark matter or however you want to look at it, whatever angle you want to take. They had something in common, and now they've mysteriously disappeared or died.
Yeah, it's remarkable that General McCaslin apparently walked out of his home, left all of his devices, and never came back. And Monica Reza, she was on a hike as well and mysteriously disappeared. And I've heard of others. We've already sent a letter. When I first came in, I heard of another gentleman, and I'll keep that name sure. You know, out of respect. I sent a letter to the FBI investigating the suspicious suicide of another individual who had worked alongside, you know, other whistleblowers like David Grush and Jake Barber who had come forward. So their colleague is mysteriously committed suicide. We've already sent the letter to the FBI to investigate that, and that is an ongoing investigation. So these are other things that we'll probably be reaching out to the FBI to see if they have anything going on these, and if not, then we're going to ask them to do that.
Yes, certainly. Congressman, I am all bought and sold in to the alien discussion. I watch a documentary that I reference on this show often called Age of Disclosure. I'm sure you're familiar with it. But in that documentary, those that have seen it know that those that are whistleblowers and talking about UFO activity, alien activity, they know that you know, they are fearful of retaliation, retribution, whatever, for disclosing alien activity or the, you know, I guess anything related to it. So how much of this are you concerned? It could be not the aliens themselves doing this, but somebody who possibly wants to shut people up. That's what I'm concerned about.
That's my concern as well. Look, let's set the alien from another planet topic aside. There's clearly demonstrated technology that is extremely advanced, and I've seen videos. We've had a lot of reports. We've had pilots that have encountered these objects. There is a type of technology that is so cutting edge and advanced, you know, whether it's being held by a foreign entity or a private contractor in the United States. What's clear is that they are doing. There's a lot of work to keep very highly guarded, the secret of that technology. And and also probably a lot of work that's being done by our adversaries to try to discover what this technology is.
Congressman Kevin Cork with you. If you're from St. Louis, I'd say where'd you go to high school? But I know you are from the great state of Missouri, and we appreciate your time tonight. I do want to ask you about two parts to this question. One, is it possible that there was a romantic nexus between the two folks that may have disappeared, or have you all looked into that particular angle? And I guess...
Holy shit. Did he just say that, Mike?
Yes.
Did he just say that?
Yep.
Really? Romantic nexus between the one scientist who disappeared 5 months ago?
Yeah, nine months ago.
Oh, my God.
What an idiot.
Well, he's probably reading a teleprompter, like all of them. But, look at me. Sorry, folks, I had to pause in on that one. That was a oh, what the fuck moment. All right, let's get back to this. Here we go.
Way off base.
Like it's a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, I'll rewind couple seconds. Let's play that so we can listen to it again and continue on. Here we go.
One, is it possible that there was a romantic nexus between the two folks that may have disappeared, or have you all looked into that particular angle? And I guess the second part of my question is, as it relates to discoveries, be they extraterrestrial, be they spiritual bodies, this is something that's incredibly fascinating to millions and millions of people all over the world. Is it unreasonable to expect that there might be, to use a oft-used phrase, more out there?
On your first question, the thought had...
Okay, sorry, folks. Angels don't need a spaceship. Let's just leave it at that. Just like God doesn't need a starship either.
Crossed my mind as well, but I'll let the investigators determine that. I don't want to speculate because at the end of the day, these individuals that have gone missing have loved ones and family members that we don't want to. I don't want to muddy that. But to your second question about look, that's what we're looking into. I'm trying to figure out what is going on, what is actually flying in our airspace, what's going over some of our whether it's a military base or some of our missile silos locations. There's a lot of activity that's reported and documented, and it's important that we identify and figure out what's going on. Now, in my effort, what I've made very clear is that if I uncover the fact that we are not alone in this universe, that's not something for any politician, any government to withhold from humanity. That is not top secret, and it shouldn't be top secret. But any kind of advanced technology that keeps us safe is probably something we should guard and protect.
Congressman, it's Nicole Sapphire. Kind of a two-part question. First of all, thinking about the science.
Okay, wait a minute. I need to jump in on this one really quick here. I think we all need to jump on this one. Number one, what he's saying is what Lou Elizondo has said and others have said, what right does the federal government have, Mike, to go ahead and keep, or Daryl for that matter, what right do they have to keep the existence of another life form classified from everybody, right?
But there are exceptions.
Right, but then he went on to say, though, Mike, before we get to that, but if there is stuff that keeps us safe and secure, we can't talk about that, which means we're going to get the acknowledgement, but they're not going to get into the details of what they've been doing with their dirty, grubby hands with this technology for 80 years.
They're also not going to volunteer any actual information to the public about any more information they have directly on NHI and UAP technology. Nothing. We already got this right out of Luna's mouth.
Yeah.
They're going to acknowledge that there are objects and they have videos and photos, but they don't know what it is or what it's doing or where it comes from.
We've heard.
Public figure it out.
We could say it came out of Lou mouth, but what do you call it? Luna is basically just parroting what Lou has said in the past. The only thing we're going to get is an acknowledgement.
Right. And nothing more. So, nothing concrete, no data points to go off of. They're just going to say, yeah, there's something up there. We don't know what it is. Hey, now you can try to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we have to say, though, that is opening Pandora's box to a lot of stuff.
Anytime that they go in a forward direction on anything to do with this, they're opening up Pandora's box.
I know.
Because it isn't going to just quietly go away. So you're 100% right on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Roll out the bodies. Come on. They can show us the bodies, Mike, because the bodies aren't, well, potentially aren't being used for biological warfare, but considering our government, you never know. But they could still show us the bodies.
They couldn't.
Yeah,
They
they could.
show us. They couldn't show us a bolt or a screw that they would then say it's not made on this earth and not by us. Even just something as simple as a bolt. They couldn't do it. Because the minute they made that acknowledgement to the public, it would have the dam would burst.
Oh, of
And there would
course.
be so many
Don't you think the
flood infections.
President Trump would like to burst the dam and freak out the whole world? Come on, if we've gone back to the 2008 crisis, and what about 4 weeks thanks to what's going on in the Middle East. I mean, what's going on over there right now is going to be repercussions, not now, but for years to come. If you ever consider getting a electric car in the United States, folks, Tesla right now has 0% financing on the Model Y, including your charger for the garage, all in one deal. It'll save you from the pain that's coming at the pump. It's already there now, but it's going to get a lot worse.
The toaster? Is that the toaster one?
Toaster?
Model Y? Looks like a toaster?
They all look like a toaster.
Well, no, there's the plaid. Looks way better.
Well, that's the Model S. You got the Model S, the Model 3, and the Model Y. The Model Y is 0% financing. You can't go wrong with that, considering how much money you're going to be saving on fuel, right?
And I mean, unless you have to replace the batteries in the next couple of years.
You know, I've of course watched streams on YouTube. A lot of times when they're going ahead and they're looking at vehicles that have 125,000 miles that are Teslas, that are like 8 years old plus, they still have 80% of the original capacity there after 12 years, which is not bad.
Amazing, actually. Really is.
I'd rather lease one, I think.
Well, there you go. They've had leasing deals too.
Zero down?
I don't know if it's zero down, but depends on how much you want to pay a month.
I'm checking that right now.
Yeah. It'll probably be less gas than what the 6.7 liter Corvette Grand Sport is going to be drinking, but you've got a Ferrari, so.
Yeah, I got the drinking going on over here, that's for sure.
Your car probably drinks gas like my grandfather's Pontiac Catalina 1975 with a 440 in it. He got with the biggest special engine that he could potentially order and would not put air conditioning in there because he didn't want to take away any power from the engine.
There you go.
And he also built a grain alcohol injection unit that was set up by the carburetor. When you would open it up to a certain point, it would start squirting grain alcohol from a container he had under the hood. He was proud about that one.
Yeah, there was some augmentation going. What year was it? Well,
75. Let's get away from cars, get back to this. And by the way, I got to say this up. This video clip is 8 minutes and 30 seconds. When's the last time you saw something with Burleson talking about UFOs and disclosure and this missing general that's 8 minutes long on a news broadcast? It's going somewhere. Let's continue. Here we go, folks.
Scientists that are missing. I mean, when I was reading about them and reading about their backgrounds, I mean, Reza had a patented super alloy that was, you know, the hopes were that was eliminate the U.S. reliance on Russian rocket tech. And then this company sold for $4.7 billion. When I hear numbers like that, and then I hear some of the international security issues, it does make me wonder, you know, is there a reason for her to have gone missing, and not because of the UFO thing, but is there more at stake? It has something to do with, you know, her patent and all of this money. But kind of my second part of what I want to say is what kind of piggybacking on what you were just saying is, you know, Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Intelligence during Clinton and Bush administrations, told the Post last week that the federal government possesses a jaw-dropping trove of photos and videos. If that's true, what is the impetus in keeping this from the American people? Is it so that there isn't a mass panic? You know, why would they do that?
You know, I don't know why they've been keeping it a secret for so long. There are a lot of these videos that they're keeping classified have been captured on technology that we don't want our adversaries to know that we have the ability to capture. So in other words,
hold on a second. I need to jump in here really quick. Now, the federal government knows that these craft have crashed not just in the United States, but worldwide. Hell, even sometimes when doing crash retrievals, we are going over the borders of our enemies to retrieve the craft before enemies can get to the stuff. They're aware of it. They're doing the same research. The only people they're keeping this from is the American public. Because trust me, all their programs that they have out there, if you don't think there's spies getting into any of these deep programs that are going on and our adversaries don't know what's going on, you got another thing coming. What do you think, Mike?
I think Russia, and we know this from Gene Sticco and the work his father-in-law was doing, they had and even George Knapp confirmed this. Russia had the largest UFO research program on the planet. And if you think that China doesn't know what's going on, they do. So like you just pointed out, the major governments, including our foreign adversaries, are all aware of this subject and the work that we're doing and they've been doing. It's only the public that they keep in the dark. So you're right about that. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's it's a secret that's not really a secret.
Yeah. Considering you brought up Russia, and I saw the 100% from Gene Sticco. Gene, your thoughts on this?
No, I agree with everything Mike said. You know, it's just behooves me sometimes at how they try to ignore everything that's happened in other places in the world, and that they think there's a way to put on the blinders, that there's a way to make this America-centric as an issue, and that all discovery, you know, is to be found here. And, you know, I got to bring up Paul Stonehill, who I think, Mike, you know him, and, you know, we exchange messages on X sometimes, and he's right. And, you know, God bless him. You can see the frustration as people post things like it's new, like it's news, and he can point right back to Russia. And he points, you know, and he has videos that he's created years and years ago that discuss all of these same issues that for some reason are just being discovered today. And the depth of work that was public in Russia and discussed during the Soviet Union, post-Soviet Union, you know, is just amazing. And again, it's there, and the connections are there to be made. And you know, the most recent Lakatsky, his new book, you know, he talks about the Thread 3 documents, and there were 12 appendices that they could never locate. And I have 12 works that my father-in-law had done that I'd previously matched to OSAP and Thread 3 and shown that alignment. I mean, I don't know how long, and this is what makes me question their intent on whether this is truly an investigative effort or it is just a slow rollout that they need to control, because there is plenty of evidence around. If they have questions, plenty of people with plenty of evidence outside the United States that relates to the United States, where they could be asking better and better informed questions.
Yeah. It seems to be that way. So again, they're not hiding it from our adversaries. They're already well aware of what's going on, potentially embedded in some of our programs, and reporting back to HQ on that. They're keeping it from us. So let's listen to more on Eric Burleson. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate that insight.
Anytime.
The cameras themselves are highly classified, and because of that, we don't want to release the footage.
Wait a minute. The cameras... Oh, Jesus Christ. The cameras are classified, so we don't want to reveal the footage. Come on, really?
That doesn't mean that Congress shouldn't be able to see this, which is why I've been, we have a lot of whistleblowers that have come forward. I've been given a list of about 2 to 3 dozen of these files and have submitted a request, an official request to Tulsi Gabbard's office, to the Department of War, to, the Secretary of State and the Department of Energy to be able to see.
Why the fuck are they leaving out the CIA or the FBI that they're working with? They seem to be leaving out the 3-letter agencies, which is, again, suspect. They're on. They're working from the inside, clearly.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is just like a gold mine. Sorry to have to butt in like I usually do, but my God.
These files.
You're making some good points.
And I've got a contact with other whistleblowers. There's more files to come. So when we've got people on the inside watching to see, based on our request, if these files have been moved, if they are deleted or changed in any way to avoid that. So we're on the trail, and hopefully Congress can be able to at least get our eyes on these videos and give some insights to the American people.
Congressman Eric Burlison, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing.
Well, Mike, he talked about the files. They know where they are. They know what they're named, right?
Yeah.
It's either information coming from either A, David Grush, or 2, Matthew Brown. Probably the later.
Or 3, that briefing that they had with the FBI.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have told them where all the files were, what the file names were, and everything. They're coming in, hey, look at this, guys. Check out this document. Check out this stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, and, I would point it back to that more than anything.
Yeah, but Thomas, we've said this to the audience numerous times. Until we get an executive order out of this administration, Congress isn't going to see shit on those files. They're going to get nothing. It has to be declassified, and not by a tweet. He needs to put an executive order in place.
Oh, I had an argument with Alan Levine about that last night. And Mike Morris. My gosh, yeah, that was.
You guys mind if I'm slightly disruptive?
Just wait a second, Whale Laser. I've got Gene Sticko first. We'll call on you next. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right, Gene, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add my opinion on this. Burleson comes across as sincere that he's trying to chase down this information. Yeah. And, again, as we were just discussing, there's something to this that makes me feel like he's getting led around by the nose, and he's getting bad information from people that he's trusting. And, he's being led in directions that, through an intermediary, he's being led down that road, because it just doesn't make sense that he seems as sincere as he does. He's getting bad information, and there's a dozen reasons, I think, why, and who he's getting that information from, and why it's bad information. I think there's a lot of people who are, making their livings off of
bring some answers. I hope you
pursuit of disclosure, and it's the pursuit part that they can't have stop.
Well, let's not leave out, Gene, a very important fact about Eric Burleson. He's appealing to his base because he's coming up for re-election. So I don't think it's that he's just being led around by the nose. I think he's doing this as marketing for his campaign.
Right, but I think what Gene's getting at, Mike, is in his marketing and his effort to try and do stuff and try and move the UAP caucus forward in ways that Luna and Burchett aren't doing. He's trying to move stuff forward, and he is literally potentially getting led around by the nose by the different 3-letter agencies for the information and places he's trying to track it down. I think Gene's got a valid point on that, because irrespective if he's running for office or not, we know he's got a new YouTube channel. He's getting a lot of live streams and just videos out there and everything, and he's trying to promote himself as being the disclosure guy in Congress. That's wonderful, but at least he's trying to get to the bottom of this.
But without an executive order in place and these files and documents declassified from the top down, right from the president, he's not going to be able to access any of this shit.
Well, he's already gone on a couple places right now. He's been looking at stuff. Let's, you know, he's made a lot of statements. Let's see where it goes. And if we're left, you know, asking the question, where's the beef?
Yeah. The beef is going to rely on the president issuing that executive order.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And without it, nothing is going to move forward on the disclosure front.
Yeah.
It just won't.
And we need that.
We've said this countless times. We absolutely need it. We were promised it from the president himself on numerous occasions. So he has to follow through on it. But he's a little busy right now with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon right now.
You think?
Yep.
Yeah, but, you know, he does have a multi-track mind. Hopefully he does move stuff forward. We can get to it. But I do have, let's see, someone in the back had their hand up a second ago. Who was it again?
Laser had a question.
Go ahead.
So basically, I wanted to make a statement, and today I did my walk in the park, and I meet interesting people on occasion. I met somebody today that was very, very, very interesting.
Okay, is this about this topic, or is it about something you have this separate from this?
This is about this topic, not Iran or whatever. It's about.
Is it about? Okay.
It's about Area 51. If you think Area 51 is in this topic, and if it's not,
it is, but we're just kind of focusing on Burleson. Let me get to the end of the story. I've got some other videos to play, and then we'll get back to you, well, Laser, if that makes sense.
I'll get out. Bye.
You don't need to. I'm just trying to keep us on target for the audience sake.
So he can come back. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So let's move on with Burleson.
All right, where the hell did it go to? I've got another video here. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here. This one's coming, another one from Fox, talking about more people that have been shot dead that were part of the program, part of the things that were going on with McCaslin going, if you want to call it, going missing. Now, what's interesting about this guy they've got up on here, he lives in a, what do you want to call it? He lives in a house in the middle of freaking nowhere. This guy over here. So he was like shot dead on his porch. So interesting to see what's going on. Let's go ahead and play this clip. This one's a short one, only 2 minutes, folks. Here we go.
Police are searching for a retired Air Force general who vanished in New Mexico. William McCaslin went missing last month. Members of Congress are warning this could be a national security issue. The general was involved with the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace research. He oversaw a classified space weapons program. McCaslin was in charge of the Air Force Research Lab at a base in Ohio. It's rumored that base holds extraterrestrial debris from the Roswell crash site. The general was tied in with the UFO community. A source told the New York Post the general was a gatekeeper for anything UFO related in the Air Force. He retired due to mental fog. But investigators say he's still highly intelligent and capable. McCaslin was an avid hiker. His wife last saw him leaving with a backpack and a .38 revolver. No phone, no glasses. He disappeared 6 days right after Trump announced he was releasing the UFO files. And he's not the only one. 8 months before the general vanished, a rocket scientist who worked under him years ago also went missing. She was hiking in California with 2 other people. They saw her smiling and waving 30 feet behind them. When they turned back again, she was gone, vanished in plain sight. They searched for days and couldn't find any trace of her. This is a very, very strange situation. And 11 days before the general disappeared, another scientist was shot dead on his porch. Carl Grillmar was known for discovering signs of water on a distant planet. He was gunned down in California. Freddie Snyder was later charged.
Mike, if they're talking about water discovered on an exoplanet, that could be, we're talking about Kepler 2b, which is a super Earth in the, I believe, Andromeda part that's like 126 light years away, but it's a huge freaking planet. And they've even gone and detected the magnetic field around the planet, going ahead and saying that, yeah, there could definitely, it's a place for life. I mean, I remember doing research on that back in 2021 when I was just starting the channel. Here we go.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Charged with his murder. He has a rap sheet, but was let out of jail by a Newsom-appointed judge weeks before he allegedly killed the scientist. We still don't know his motive. And we don't know if these cases are even connected. But this many top scientists getting killed or going missing in just under a year looks like a major red flag.
Well, 8 is bad, but I believe Kyle in the back, Kyle, you've gone and done a deep dive on this, and the number you're getting to seems more like 20 at this point. Maybe not. Something to cover another time. Either way, there's a lot more people that are showing up in this particular situation, Mike, that we really need to get to the bottom of it. It's definitely a point of interest that a lot of people have out there to understand what's going on with the general. And, you know, it's a lot of speculation going on but there's things that tie it all together that just make it more compelling relative to what the hell is going on. Why are so many people getting kicked out? Daryl?
Yeah, actually, question for Mike on this one, being an ex-cop or current cop. I can't remember your cop status, but a copper. The guy that killed the guy on his front porch was arrested 11 days earlier for doing something with this guy, right? Trying to kill him or something, and they let him go. 11 days later, he comes back and kills the guy. Does that sound like, to you, like a government cover-up kind of a thing? Like, would they send the same guy to kill somebody 11 days later?
No.
That one doesn't.
They wouldn't. No, that doesn't track, doesn't line up, Daryl. You're right. You got a good eye, yeah.
Yeah. There's just a ton of people from different areas that have been not lining up, but lining up their coffins for that matter. And it's a situation that we're going to keep on tracking to figure out what the hell is going on, Mike.
Or see if there are new bodies that are disappearing. Either or. Because it seems like there's a pattern. At the very least, this is a matter of national security with these high-ranking people. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're not really tying it all together and looking into it like that. They should.
Unless part of the government is in cahoots on this thing, or it's something bigger that we have no control over.
Yeah, it hasn't become obvious yet.
Right.
So we're going to see what happens moving forward. If more of these people keep disappearing, there's no way the government is going to be able to ignore that, or the public for that matter. Mainstream media news is already picking up on it.
Yep.
So
too many people. Too many people, not enough answers. I've got a screenshot here just showing 6 of them. Let me go ahead and bring this up. This is from Whitley Strieber's research he's been doing on it. Let's see if I can bring this one up. Here we go. Yeah, so there we go. We've got 6 people, but you know the number could be high as 9, up to 9, or it could be literally as high as potentially 20. Just a lot of people. Aren't they all connected by the AF research, the Air Force? Was it our research AFRL?
Laboratory, AFRL, correct.
AFRL, yeah.
Yeah, but I believe the scientist that was murdered was part of NASA, not the AFRL.
Right. But I think he does have some ties back to AFRL, though. Or she does.
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me get this back up here. I've got some other stuff to go ahead and get to. I just want to clean it up as we're getting there. No, don't need to see that. Let's just get to the next piece. Bunch of things happening. All right, since we've been talking about this, let's get to this next piece. You know, we've heard coming in from Representative Eric Burleson that the Greys are potentially demons. We heard that a couple days ago. We covered that last week, Mike.
Yeah, we did.
So we've got other news that's out there that's interesting to say the least. Prolific exorcist father Chad Ripperedge announced he's witnessed demons manifest into gray aliens when he performs exorcisms on March 10th. Quote, I know other exorcists where they would, in session, they would see that once a demon is manifested, they would manifest in literally looking like an alien with the eyes, the small mouth, the whole bit turning gray, and they even call themselves gray. And they try to lie to the exorcist saying, oh, well, we're not angels, good angels, and we're not bad angels. We're not demons. We're kind of in the middle. We're neither good nor bad. No, dude, you're just a demon. But, Mike, that sounds like the Greys, if they are truly manifesting them through some kind of meditation or prayer or et cetera, which is along the same lines, you know?
Consciousness, yeah.
Yeah. So if they're seeing them, they're saying, no, we're not a demon. We're not an angel. We're kind of something in between. We're our own things. We're gray aliens. This comes down to, again, you've got a priest who's been going and dealing with this, right? And is looking at this from a point of cargo cult. That's basically where we go ahead and take what we know, what we understand as reality, our culture, our religion. We try to identify something, right? And put it in a bucket. So that's the priests there going ahead and saying, oh God, yes, they're demons. They they're actually call themselves grays, but they're not really grays. They're demons, like we said earlier. When's the last time an angel or a demon or a god needs a starship or an orb?
They don't.
They don't.
Right.
And if they do have a consciousness connection with a human and the priests think, oh my God, we've been doing this forever, you are a demon based on the behavior. Maybe they're just a little bit off somewhere in the other.
Right. And didn't we cover J.D. Vance recently said the same thing?
Just last week, he was calling out the same thing.
Yeah. I don't like when people try to jam this into a religious box and say it's all connected. Religion should have nothing to do with this. It's scientific, not religious. It's not magic.
It may share consciousness, right? Which they look as spirituality. They're getting to it through a form of mind state that they get into with prayer or meditation. They can go ahead and connect and talk with these things and get them out there, because I'm sure this stuff's been going on forever, but it's just, I guess, could this be a power play potentially for the Catholic Church? But then if that's the case and they're saying all the stuff that's been going on has been these things, that kind of takes their whole religion and just kind of discombobulates it, because now it's what we've been seeing we're seeing the skies is God's battle in the sky, but that just doesn't click these days.
It doesn't. You're right. People have become more intellectual, more well-read. They have a better understanding of the world around us, and they don't stick it into a religious box to conform.
Not that we're against religion or anything like that, but like you said, we don't need another religion. We don't need to glom on to what's going on in the skies to try and bring up the patronship of the Catholic Church, which has been failing for the longest time, because, well, maybe they like the Greys. They are short like little guys, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh boy, what a mess. But either way, we've got to cover it, because that's what's getting called out and out in the media, and that's what we try and cover here on Disclosure tonight. Let's see if I can get back to here. Let's get up to our next piece we've got going on. All right, so we finished off that piece. We've got someone in the back. I know you had your hand up earlier. You're still there, I think. If you want to come out and talk about your stuff that you had going on at about Area 51?
That's Whale Laser.
Yes, well, you want to go ahead? Trying to get you between stories here.
Laser?
Well, hello?
Yeah.
I saw you had the camera on a minute ago.
Yeah, he bowed out. He left.
All right, well, I tried. I
you
tried to connect it in between things, so either way, where do we start? So, couple things. I probably have to shrink this down because I'm not going to be able to show this thing. It's too tall on a screen at once. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's get into it. Where is that at? Oh, let's get back to it. Come on. OBS. All right, let's get to it. All right, in our next clip, what we've got going up here, not clip, but what we're talking about is we've got Artemis, Mike, the Artemis mission. It's on the pad. It's ready for launch. They've got a countdown clock of how much longer it's going to go. It's going up on Wednesday, I believe.
Oh, that'll be interesting. But isn't there a lot of solar activity going on around the same time?
Oh, you mean like this when we have Tuesday night's Aurora forecast? So not sure if it's going to be hitting Tuesday night. Hopefully not on. Hopefully, I mean, we just had an X1.7, right? Happened today. It's in a hurry to get here, meaning it's going to be here in about less than, 24, about 36 hours. If that speed continues, yes, there will be a wave of a CME coming in, going across the planet, and that's the last thing you'd want to do and go ahead and have astronauts go up and be subjected to that. Now, I believe I've not that one. Let's just get through it. Okay, so this shows planet Earth. Here is the blob in yellow right there, and you can see we are going to be getting hit with the leading edge of it, but it's still compressing down. It's coming in fast, so we're still going to get hit by that CME. If I want to go ahead and bring up, I think I've got some videos of that going off. Let's go ahead and watch this a little bit, and it's going to be down in the site right over here, and there's going to be the explosion. Come on, we're getting there. Where was it at? Did I miss it already? Here we go. There it is. The boom that goes from there. This one, they're glowing bright, everything coming out of it. Let's see. That's a chart getting into it. I think I've got a better one. Here we go. There's another shot of an X1.7. But here's the thing, though. That just went boom. Remember the last solar storm that we just had like a week and a half ago?
Yes.
That's the exact same place the last one was at. But then as it slowly moved towards the direction of the Earth, it let off like 3 more. So they're going to have to be careful, potentially, for those astronauts to make sure they're going to be safe, because I'm sure that capsule has not been potentially hardened. Maybe it has been, to keep out that level of radiation coming from the planet.
You covered this several times about how, they keep having designed, they keep going back and having problems with the launch because there's design problems, the things made by 200 different people. And, when you were launching the show tonight, you said, "Here we go," I think. And I'm betting that's what the astronauts are saying.
Oh, that is true. I've got some more stuff. Let's see. Yeah, they even have the countdown clock going. Granted, this is from 5 hours ago, but they're expecting a lot of observers to come down to NASA, to come down and watch what's going on. They actually have traffic maps up and letting people know how early they should try and get there if they want to go ahead and watch this thing happen live. Now, let's see if I've got some more stuff on that one. No, it's the CME. All right, so here's the first Artemis that went off. Actually, no, that's not it. I thought I had a video. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This is showing the path of Artemis circling around the moon once, going on out. Circling the Earth once, going ahead. I like this, catching up with the moon as it's passing by, slingshotting around it as it moves, and then coming back to Earth. You got to wonder, why are they just... they already had this happen once without humans on board. What's the big deal to get it just to go around the moon once and come back? It seems like it's putting a lot of money in there for a lot of show and not a lot of results out of it, Daryl.
Well, if you remember, or maybe you don't, but in the first Apollo missions, they did this exact same thing. And the astronauts were kind of in a kerfuffle. They're like, one guy never landed on the moon. He's like, I was that close. I could have landed on the moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just to test out the systems.
Yeah. Now, you heard they've stopped production, or they've pushed back the orbiting space station that they were going to be having at the moon. And one of the things that was going to be on that station was a new robotic arm like they had on the space shuttle that was developed by Canada. This one was also developed by Canada, but it looks like Canada's contribution to this has been slowly deflated.
Well, that's not cool.
No.
We don't need any deflating Canadian things.
They're doing a good job on their own these days.
Yeah. Well, according to Musk, this lunar base will probably be all made by robots. So probably his robots.
Oh, yeah, Optimus. That's true. Again, they don't have to sleep. They don't have to rest, but they do have to deal with the lunar dust and everything else. Hopefully, they won't deal with their robotics and stuff. Maybe they will have to have some kind of a spacesuit for the robots themselves.
Or maybe they do get a conscience, and it's like that scene out of Star Wars when they're all in the cantina and they're playing their instruments and having a good time. Who knows?
True, you never know where it's going to go. Let me take a look back here and what I promised I was going to be talking about tonight. Give me a second here, folks. I've got a bunch of things in my data feed. I want to make sure I'm getting to the right one. Come on, edit. So, all right. So we've talked about McCaslin. Okay, fireball's escalating. Artemis launch, Japan UFO Caucus. So next one we're going to get to is fireballs are escalating. Yes, they are, and it's still going on. It's still continuing. And coming to us from the... I thought I had this here. Let me just open this one and another one. Hit enter. There we go. No, I've got it twice. All right, coming to us from the American Meteor Society. Let's bring this up here for our audience to go ahead and delve into with us. Where is that at? I've got to finish rebuilding OBS. All right, let's get into this. Something has changed with the near-Earth meteoroid. Has something changed with the near-Earth meteoroid environment? Yes, folks, it really has. And the first quarter of 2026 has produced what appears to be a significant surge in large fireball events. Sure everybody can see this. Yeah, we got it. Fireball events. The data drawn from the AMS database, swinging back to 2011, shows a pattern that warrants serious investigation. Here's what the numbers say and what they don't say. Since the start of 2026, the AMS has been fielding a growing number of inquiries from journalists about what we've been seeing in the sky. If we go ahead and take a look at the signal is at the top of the distribution. If we look at going all the way from 2018, I need to move this up so their audience could see it. All right, going from 2018 all the way up through 2026, we can see the events of 25 plus, events greater than 50, events greater than 100 plus. Right now, 2026 in the average of going from January to March, I believe. Let me double check the timing on this. This is for Q1, quarter one, January through March. We're going back from 2018, going all the way through 2026. Now, here's the scoop, folks. This is not normal. Period. We're seeing an increase, and they're not quite sure where the increase is coming from. These fireballs that have been coming in, and there's a, let me get to the next one. If we take a look at the actual numbers, you can see the total events that they've had within the year of 2026 itself. We're already way higher than 2025 that had 1807 or 2046. 2024 was at 1614. So, you just look at it and say, what the heck is going on? There's something happening in our skies. And hey, we even had one earlier today. Let me get back to here. I believe it's at the top of my feed. NASA's been covering this. Coming from NASA Space Alerts, which is literally coming from NASA. A meteor sighting fireball observed by witnesses in northwest U.S. and Canada on the night of March 28th. Yes, we've got one happening over Washington. So it's continuing. It's not a psyop. It's something that's happening on a regular basis. It's increasing. It's not slowing down. Is something we're going to have to figure out. Now, what they've come out and said is, let's get past the dates. I've got something in here where they have text to say what it's not. Okay, what can we rule out? A lot of things we go ahead and look at and say, okay, what's the data? What is it not? What they're saying, first of all, this isn't an increase in reporting or smartphone adoption. They usually say we're seeing a lot more people going out there and reporting things because there's more people looking up. However, the AMS reporting platform has matured since 2016 to 2018. The total events for quarter one 2026 is only marginally above recent years. An anomaly exists at high witness count thresholds, the opposite of what a reporting effect would produce. Next, it's not a new meteor shower. No major showers are active in Q1. The next is the Lyrids in April. The enhanced activity concentrates around the Athenian sporadic source and high declination radiance rather than a novel radiant position. This is consistent with an amplification known as a sporadic populations rather than a new stream. So we found something that's got a bunch of things that our planet is running into. And the one that just ran into, where was it? Washington State came in at 35,000 miles an hour hot and disintegrated before it came down. The February fireballs, it's a seasonal effect. Well, the well-documented February fireball phenomenon, though thought to be related to the Athenian radiant reaching peak evening elevation, typically produces a 10 to 30% increase in bright sporadic meteors. In Q1 2026, 50-plus event counts is more than double the baseline. Double. And the signal is strongest in March, not February. The Athenian enhancement we observe may be related to this phenomenon, but it substantially exceeds the historical magnitude. So this is something different. We haven't seen it before, and it's increasing, which is good to know. Well, if you're trying to figure it out. Time of day or geographical basis. The evening, overnight, morning distribution of events is statistically normal. The surge is global, with major events in both North America and Europe being reported. What we cannot yet rule out. Are we dealing with an AI-driven reporting amplification? One factor that has changed since 2023 is widespread adoption of AI assistants. When someone witnesses a fireball today, they may ask ChatGPT, Siri, or Google's AI, I saw a fireball. Where do I report it? And be directed to AMS. This would inflate witness counts per event without changing the actual number of fireballs, which is notably the exact pattern we observed. Normal total event counts, but elevated reports per event at the high end. We cannot quantify this effect with the data currently available, but it is a possible partial explanation for an upward shift in the witness count distribution. It would not, however, account for the elevated sonic boom rates or recovered meteorite falls, meaning that, yeah, we've had a lot more that are bigger, that are coming in, they're exploding, and they're picking it up. Now, the uncomfortable questions. Are these alien in origin? No. Not every fireball in AMS database with sufficient trajectory is consistent with objects on heliocentric orbits. But this is something that was brought up by Ben Davidson over at Suspicious Observers. If I can go ahead and pull this. Is that the one I had up? Let me go ahead and bring this back. Sorry about that. I want to go ahead and find this video here really quick and bring it up, and we'll play it again. This is where Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observers, we played this on Saturday, who's basically going on a limb and saying, not all these things that we're seeing are meteors. So let me get to the channel. Let me go ahead and get to the videos. Let's go ahead and bring up Ben. Everyone, we'll play this again. It's a short 2-minute, 23-second clip. Let's go ahead and play it, folks. And here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is just a quick message. I am here at Observer Ranch, and I'm going to have to go be me in just a second. But this deserves a quick word about all of the meteors being seen right now. Most of them are not meteors. Interestingly, this whole fervor began with the Ohio meteor explosion, which was a meteor, followed by a double SpaceX launch, 2 in the same day, visible from 22 different states. And since then, there have been several other fireballs, as most of you know. It would be very easy for me as a space weather guy, meteors are part of space weather, to jump on this and get a bunch of views. Given the fact that there is extra material coming with the galactic current sheet and we have been noticing it, it has been detected in the form of extra dust by event horizons out past Pluto, all the way to the solar corona. It would be very easy for me to jump on this and say, ooh, could this be the galactic current sheet? Scare you a little bit, get a bunch of clicks that way. The fact of the matter is, I know meteors. I know what we should be expecting. These things are not meteors. They are moving far too slowly to be meteors. If you watch them, you will see that is the case. UAP landing craft, destroyed spy satellites. This is something that was in orbit. Okay, these are not meteors. This is something that it was either already in orbit or it slowed down and then entered our atmosphere. These are not meteors. And so these are either UAPs or we are witnessing the greatest AI video hoax in history. I will admit I am not the best when it comes to noticing AI videos, but I think at this point it's fairly safe to say everybody agrees that there are a ton of these fireball sightings, and at least the vast majority of them are not AI. There are enough of them out there. NASA is even mentioning, hey, we have an uptick. And I'm telling you that the explanation that would normally be given, which I said several days ago, that in the spring to summertime, there should be an uptick in meteors. That happens every single year. What we're seeing now aren't meteors. This is something else.
So, along those lines, let me go ahead and bring in this new window here to go ahead and show it. Coming in from X, yeah, there are, where did that go? All right, so yeah, we do have meteors. And guys, Mike, Daryl, they're not just in space in the evening. They're bright enough in a lot of instances to go ahead and be seeing them from during daylight, which is not really normal, is it?
No, but I think if they're larger, you're more likely to see them, right? Because they're just bigger.
Bingo.
And this is the fireball season. I mean, just so everybody knows that it's, these 2 weeks of March are the fireball season. And it's
fireball season doesn't really start to April when the Lyrid comes in.
I'm pretty sure the equinox, the spring equinox. Anyway, this is the time. And obviously it's because the Earth is traveling through a belt of dust. It's just like every year you have literally 100 meteor showers that are predictable.
Yeah.
And so, when you think of it like dust produces, if you see dust, sometimes you have bigger pieces of dust, and probably we're seeing bigger pieces of dust. The thing that concerns me is, how big does it get?
Right, because again, looking at the data coming from the Meteorological Society, we're in an area right now, statistically, where there is a decent increase over what we usually see at this point.
Also, I've noted that they said that there's a lot more sonic booms related to these meteors.
Which means they're bigger, right?
Which means they're bigger, which I think kind of does. Astrophysicists are saying that it's because of some belt that we can continue to run into. And in case anybody doesn't know, the Earth is always moving around the sun, and we go through these trails. You think of contrails, laid across the sun, extending to one end of the universe to the other. Yeah. We go through that. So again, my question is, how big does it get? I mean,
one of the ones they had come in last week was over a ton in size. Not small.
No. So
yeah,
hopefully we don't run into something.
But don't forget, we're in a section of the sun's rotation around the galaxy. where we're kind of feels like right now we've got changes to the atmospheres for 8 out of our 9 planets. Every single planet out there, we've been observing changes in the atmospheres and the magnetic fields around these planets going on. The only one we're not seeing right now is Mercury, but everything beyond Mercury, we're seeing it. Step one, what is changing all of these planets and atmospheres? It's not humans. We're not creating enough carbon monoxide and emissions to affect everything else besides Earth. No, there's something bigger going on. Secondly, we've come into a section of space where there's a lot more dust, which is making everything brighter in our observations. Why could we have dust? Why would dust be collecting? Well, if you have a static or electric field on something, Daryl, doesn't that kind of attract dust to it?
Sure. And of course, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So potentially, as this is another sign, potentially, if we're getting towards it, we don't want to go down that route of what could potentially happen to the planet, though, but there's just signs going on in our solar system, bigger things that are happening that we just need to keep our eyes open to.
Yeah, hopefully somebody has got their technological eye trained at the next big dust thing that we're going through to know. I mean, it is, we talked about this the other night. It is like the trailing edge of this was an interesting fact. The trailing edge, or the wing edge of the Earth, wherever it is at midnight, that's where the Earth is. That's like the windshield. That's where we're headed, in that direction.
Yeah.
When you look up.
Yeah. Can't wait to see where that's going to potentially go.
Yeah, anyway, it's interesting stuff.
Talking about where people are potentially going, this is just a fun fact here, friends. Daryl, you'll probably have a fun one talking about this one. Let's bring this up here. Where is it at? I've got a map of where all the people, I believe there's a huge decline going. 60,000, well, a lot of people have all been escaping from California. And you're wondering where they're going. This is where it's showing you, my friends. Yeah, they're going to Washington State, Texas, Washington, bunch going to, what state is that? Wyoming? No, Wyoming's up here.
Don't even know where they're going to, Nancy Guthrie, General McCaslin.
Yeah. A lot of people are moving out of the state of California, and a lot of people are moving out of Washington State. It's the wrong people moving here is all I can say.
Yeah, your state made some news today on the taxes. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
What it was,
yeah. You mean they signed that illegal income tax?
Yeah, your gas is going through the roof, and I mean, it was broad. It was a broad. I think it had to do with fraud and the amount of taxes you're paying.
Right. Well, they've just gone and implemented a income tax. Initially starting for people who make $1 million or more, and any income that you make over $1 million, they're going to start taxing you at basically 9.9%, call it 10%, which is going to causing a lot of the really rich people to escape from Washington, like all the billionaires who are in California who are escaping because they're trying to get away from similar taxes as well. But here's the thing, Washington State, it's against our state constitution to have an income tax. So you've got the former treasurer of the state of Washington joining forces with the people to start lawsuits against the legislature and the governor for signing this thing. It's just a freaking mess.
Yeah, you know what's funny too? It was the guy they were interviewing was a big proponent of this, and he's a billionaire. Well, in case anybody doesn't know, there's 1,000 other reasons why you don't want to pay that tax between $1 million and $1 billion. I mean, a billionaire, great, be philanthropic through your tax money. Certainly, Elon Musk paying $40 billion in personal tax last year. He's contributing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think I've got something here. Where did it go? Let me just get back into here. I don't want to need to go through this. I've got stuff going on. There's things going on. There's a movement going on in Japan. Not only do we just have the current head of Japan, premier, president, whatever her title is, come and visit the United States. They're already pushing back on immigration. Europe is pushing back on immigration. But on this one, they've got a new UFO caucus. Let's go ahead and bring up and the meeting is going to be tomorrow. So we just have an intro to what's going on. There'll be a live broadcast. We'll go ahead and cover it wherever we can. Prime Minister, thank you, Sam. I appreciate you giving me that information. So let's get to this next piece here. All right. Coming to us for immediate release. Rescheduling of the 4th General Meeting of the UFO Caucus, which is the UAP Parliamentary Federation of Tokyo, Japan, the Parliamentary Federation for the clarification of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, commonly known as UFO, the UFO Caucus, has announced a scheduled change for its upcoming 4th General Meeting. The meeting will now commence at March 31st, which is tomorrow, at 1300 JST Japan time. Topic is addressing UAP from the national security perspective. There will be a live stream that's out there. The proceedings will be broadcast live via Nick Ancio News on YouTube. Members of the press and the public are invited to view the session at the link below. The live broadcast will be coming to us from the 4th General Meeting of the Parliamentary Federation for the clarification on UAP, about the UAP caucus. The Federation is dedicated to investigating and analyzing unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, to ensure national security and promote transparency within the Japanese government. You know, one of the things that they're really focused on here, Daryl, and or Mike, is they had the Fukushima meltdown. Before the Fukushima meltdown happened and while it was going on, there were a number of UFOs seen flying over that nuclear power plant as the crisis was happening. And I think this kind of thing also happened in the past when we had the meltdown going at in Russia, actually in Ukraine, at Chernobyl.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, right? I mean, they're always hanging around nuclear stuff like it's candy.
Well, this isn't a point where we're getting nuclear, but it's literally a nuclear meltdown.
Right.
It's not. And another thing about Japan, they are outside of the United States. They are let's call them the United States is number one. They are the number 2 purchaser of F-35s.
No, nice.
They have a bunch, and they have 129 still on order.
Beautiful.
So they are totally stocking up. Your thoughts on this, Mike?
I'm glad we're there to help them with that in Japan.
Yeah. We lose Mike. He's around somewhere. Just when you don't expect him. All right, let's go ahead and see what's going on here next. I'm just going through my feed of everything we've got covering on here. Not that one. All right. No, not that one. I'm just trying to find, I've got a bunch of stuff in the feed. Let's get past that. We've got that one. God, I know I've got something here I wanted to go ahead and cover. I must have. All right. In President Trump, one of the recent talks with President Trump, talking about his ballroom when he was on Air Force One, either heading from Florida or to Florida on that point. They're talking about the White House ballroom, why it's so important. Daryl, were you aware they're building new bunkers underneath, or they've built new bunkers under that location, and it was one of the reasons why they wanted to dig the whole place up?
Well, I think the current situation with room is actually right around there, so they have to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it only makes sense that they'd make it even more bunker buster proof.
Yeah, and this one they're actually talking about the reason is drones and the threat of drones. So let's go ahead and play this clip of the president talking about this. All right, let's get to this. Here we go.
Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass, so all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the south. We don't have a stairway in the south. That was replaced a long time ago. But this is
So a new bunker, something the military's building to keep the president and everyone else safe and everything, because you never know what's going to be flying in the skies. Talking about things flying in the skies, putting our sights down on Argentina. This is, let me get to the original. This is from Manila, coming down in Argentina. Just a regular Twitter person, Hurlingham, Argentina. This is something they record. Let me turn on the audio for this one.
No, mira, ahí, mira el video. Mira el video.
What the hell is that?
Mira el video.
Are we looking? Is it birds?
No, no son pájaros.
Is it too fast to be birds? You can just move it up a little bit so you can see the whole picture here going on.
No me sale. No son pájaros.
Looks like a V shape going on,
No,
but
mira, ahí, mira el video.
are we looking at something that's potentially a goose on a migration route? It could be. Could be aliens. Could be, the first thing I thought of was it could potentially be, some kind of birds high up. But I think it appears they're moving pretty fast at this point.
Did it make a noise at all?
No noise. But they're pretty high up there.
I don't know if you've seen the picture of the B-2 flying over, I think it's the Gerald R. Ford out in the Indian Ocean where they're at right now.
Right.
But when it comes by, it's flying at 180 degrees, and it looks like, if it didn't make a sound, you'd go, that's a fucking UFO.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a UFO. Total, all metal UFO. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. No birds, whatever it is. But you know what I think we need right now? I think we could do with the survey, see what the audience thinks. What do you think, Daryl?
What is that? Okay, yeah.
Start a poll. Let's call this one Argentina. This is Argentina, right? UFO sighting. UFO. You have two choices, UFO or bird/prosaic. I think that should work pretty well. As this goes ahead and play out, let me go ahead and bring out this survey here, and let's see where that takes us with our audience. This is your vote. This is your chance to go ahead and vote, people, because you know what? Whatever you say, I will go along with the audience. That was a great conversation last night. I got to cover that one. So let's find the pulsing logo. I will remember to go ahead and turn this thing down when I'm all done. So what do you think, audience? Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute, please.
1 minute. Starting
now. All right, so we got a minute left to go. We've already been doing it for about 30 seconds. We like to do rapid turnarounds here on our surveys. What do you think, audience? Are we dealing here with a UFO, or is it birds or prosaic? So far, with just only 48 votes in, 73% of our audience is saying what we're looking at here is a UFO. Let me move this over to the side a little bit so we can get the survey a little bit bigger. There we go, folks. So I am not surprised that our audience is saying UFO. What do you think it is, Daryl?
I went with prosaic just because, when I first looked at that, I thought, you've seen like any rocket taking off at night, right? There's this propulsive cloud behind it, and sometimes it makes some pretty cool looking stuff, and I thought maybe that's what it was, but I feel like it's prosaic. Why? Because I'm not seeing all the observables, right? It's not like moving at incredible speed.
The biggest thing
Wonder Woman may be flying that, honestly. So
the biggest thing that concerns me potentially is it's not a consistent shape, meaning it's kind of moving along and reshaping as it's moving through the atmosphere. If we were truly dealing with something that's of a non-human origin, it should be consistent. It shouldn't be affected by our atmosphere. Either way, it's something that you don't see every day.
I mean, is it something? Is there a central point that stays consistent through that? If so, maybe there is a propulsive.
No, there is a point. As you can see here, it goes up here, jumps across, goes across. Now we've got it here going in more of a V shape. Would that kind of almost takes us to the point of what we're looking at would be birds then?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever seen some of these like get caught on news broadcasts and like, what's that?
Yeah,
and it's birds.
And I'm not aware of any rocket launches that would be visible over Argentina. It's pretty far down in South America. Oh, sorry for the logo, folks, sound effect. But you never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's one to hit up on AI to see if anybody found out what it was.
Something to figure out where it's at. And by the way, folks, if you're having a good time, I spend a lot of time going ahead and trying to put the show together. And if you're having a good time, you're watching, you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you here as a regular. Help the channel out. Help me get this channel eventually to 18,000 subs. We've been stuck at like 17,550 for like months. Up and down. I'd appreciate it, folks. And also, if you haven't given us a thumbs up, we've got 354 people in the chat right now. And I can't tell you how many people that I've gotten. Let me look at the numbers here. What have we got? For likes, 122. If you're having a good time, give us a thumbs up, and if you're not having a good time, we'll thumbs down, but at least tell us so we can try and fix this. So let's now get back into the studio, figure out not that one. Yeah, trust me, I've been cleaning up OBS. The latest version sucks. I've killed it. Whether I like it that way or not. Let's see, where in the hell are my bookmarks now that I had up before? Let's get out of this post. Let's see what else I haven't covered. We've covered that. We've got that one. We've got... no, we don't need to show that. Yes. I've got this. We're talking about Artemis in the past. People are already lining up, Daryl. They're already getting their cameras in place, and they're manning them 24/7 at this point. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here just to go ahead and say what I'm talking about is actually happening. Let's get to it. So here we go. 19-second clip. Yes, so there's people, that's with like a stereoscopic camera coming from Black Magic, where they have two eyes so they can be able to watch this thing in 3D. Very cool technology. That's an expensive camera. Holy cow. They're all set up to watch Artemis. Hopefully there won't be too many things going in front of them, but, it just lets you know there's going to be a lot of good videos that are going to be coming out there for us to go ahead and watch this. Maybe, depending on the time that it goes off, we may want to cover this live, I'm thinking.
Yeah, you said you were. I'm holding you to it, man. The more disclosures tonight I can get, the happier I am. So
yeah, so it's going up on Wednesday for the 340 people watching. Plan on a show happening on Wednesday to cover Artemis, depending on what time it goes up. Now, if it's Wednesday, I get back home from work around 2:30. So as long as it's before 5:30 p.m., we'll cover it. I think it's going up like 6 p.m. Eastern time or so. So it's going up in the evening.
Great. Thank you.
All right. We got the meteors we've covered. All right. So back to the drones and the drones that have been going on. There's been a lot of drone sightings going on in Europe. While they say, some people are saying, oh my gosh, we're looking at more UFOs and stuff. Daryl, considering the war going on in Ukraine and the stuff happening, if we're seeing drones in if we're seeing things in the sky in Finland, there's a dang good chance of what we're looking at is Russian activity. But either way, it's something we need to look at because this is a new method of warfare that's going to be on our doorstep sooner than we realize.
Well, hopefully we're ahead of it being on our doorstep because we do have all these programs like DARPA, HARP, and they're, hopefully designing shit that's better than our adversaries.
Our military sites are wide open. The base that houses our B-52 inventory, as well as the planes for radar and other stuff that deal with the continuity of government, like those white jetliners we see flying around sometimes. People are saying, oh my God, they're flying again. That base is the one where they've been coming into with impunity.
Yeah, that sounds like it's us. I mean, how could it be anybody else?
Well, if it's not us, we're screwed. And the thing is, they're trying to bring them down potentially with, non-kinetic reasons, using those Ghostbuster backpacks, as they call them back from the days they had them a couple years ago. I just think, really, Daryl, the anti-drone technology that the United States government bought into from the military contractors is about effective as the anti-aircraft systems that were sold to Venezuela and Iran from China.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't work.
The thing that makes me not think that they aren't ours is where this all started 3 years ago, was it, at Langley Air Force Base, and they had to move the was it the F-22s? They had to move the F-22s.
F-22s, yeah. They had to move it down to Ocean Bay to Air Force Base Oceana.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes me wonder if that puts a hole in my theory, is that at least not on this incident, I don't think it was the U.S.
I'd love it to be ours. Look at all the drones that were happening on the East Coast. About a year and a half ago, a year and a half ago, and when was that? Started in November of 2025, 2024.
Coming at us with drones, and we begin going at them with discombobulators.
I would say those drones were ours. They were looking for something. Something came in, got on our shores, and they were bringing these things in. They were trying to find something that shouldn't have been there. But either way, let's get to this recent story coming from PBS. And this is just, talking about the drone wars. This is going to be, even Elon Musk said this a year ago, and people thought he was crazy. He said the next warfare is going to be about drones, not anything, because you have a drone that can cost a couple $1,000s, right, to go ahead and build, and they're spending $500,000 per missile to go ahead and bring these things down.
Yeah, and if anybody's got any good acronyms for PBS, I'd like to know them, so please post in the chat.
Oh, what would you think that acronym meant? Pure bullshit?
There's got to be some good ones.
All right.
The war in Ukraine is providing a real-time testing ground for nations defending against drones. Unidentified drones are also...
Let me get that out of there. They're pushing me to YouTube. Let me play the one back from YouTube. Let's go ahead and play it. Here we go, folks. I know you got to wait a little bit. Let me get back to that. Where the hell did that just go? God damn it. Luke walked in here and I lost my place. So let's play this on PBS.
Hi, Luke.
Okay, here is the PBS again. All right, so here we go, folks. I'll hide myself. Here we go.
Also a concern here in the United States. Liz Landers is here with more on a recent incident at a military base in Louisiana.
John, the week of March 9th, a swarm of drones repeatedly hovered around Barksdale Air Force Base in northwest Louisiana. A spokesperson for the base tells PBS NewsHour that it was unauthorized and criminal activity that's now being investigated by both federal and local law enforcement. ABC News reported that the drone flights lasted 4 hours at a time, deliberately maneuvered within the airspace over the base, and appeared to be jam resistant. Barksdale is a key facility for the U.S. in the ongoing...
One thing I want to bring up here really quick. They found that the drones are actually going ahead and changing their frequency of operation live as they're trying to be jammed, that they're actually hunting and seeking to other frequencies that sometimes conflict with our own. So whatever's going on with these drones, it's intelligent and it's active, not passive, which really points towards an advanced technology that really kind of points back to China.
Sounds like great technology.
Fight with Iran.
Yeah.
Housing B-52 bombers and nuclear weapons storage facilities. For more on this, we turn to retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dave Deptula. He is now the Dean of the Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies. General, thank you for joining us this evening.
You bet, Liz. Good to be here.
We just saw in Simon's story how advanced Ukraine's counter-drone technology is, and yet the U.S. is having trouble stopping all these drones that Iran is launching at its neighbors. How is it that Iran is so advanced here and that the U.S. is not?
Well, what I would tell you is that with respect to Ukraine, who are the real experts, with respect to defense, is they're much better at defending against drone attacks because for them, this is an existential fight. Russia is trying to eliminate Ukraine as a sovereign country erase its people, identity, and culture. So when a nation is facing that kind of threat every day, it adapts with extraordinary speed and seriousness. And that's why I think that it behooves the United States and our military to partner with Ukraine and learn from all their experience in defending against the drone assaults from the Russians. Now, with respect to Iran, I think we need to be careful in defending or defining what the issue is, because we essentially have reduced Iran's ability to employ their cruise missiles and drones very, very significantly. Doesn't mean that it's been eliminated, but that's part of the objective in launching the assaults that you've seen to date so very successfully applied against the Iranians.
When you look at that drone swarm that happened over Barksdale Air Force Base earlier this month, what stands out to you? And how should the base commanders handle those kinds of situations?
Well, it's a great question. First, I think it's important to keep this event in perspective. There was no mission impact from these incidents. Operations continued, and there's no indication that the activity disrupted the base's core functions. Now, all that said, the absence of mission impact should not be mistaken for the absence of a problem, because unauthorized drone activity around sensitive military installations is still a serious security concern for all the reasons one might imagine. Now, the good news is the U.S. military does have the capacity to deal with this. We have the technology, the operational experience, and the institutional knowledge to address these threats. So the issue is less about whether we can respond and more about whether the responsible organizations are putting enough priority and resources against the problem. And in particular, the service with the primary responsibility for base defense, the United States Army, needs to increase its efforts on this topic. So it's an area that requires greater attention, greater involvement, investment, and a much greater sense of urgency that has been lent to the issue to date.
Who do you think is behind this incident at Barksdale? Because we've seen that China has demonstrated very sophisticated drone use just for entertainment purposes. For example, they had a Guinness Book of World Records event last year where there were more than 7,500 drones that lit up the night sky in this just demonstration just for entertainment there in that city.
Yeah, well, that is, and I've witnessed several of those entertainment displays, but those should not be confused with battlefield performance. Flying thousands of unmanned aircraft in a scripted show under controlled conditions really different from operating in combat under jamming, interference, attrition, and attack. So the military question is not whether they can do choreography, it's whether they can function in a contested environment.
Sir, what kind of information?
Really quick, something I brought out as a stat earlier. I want to bring this up from Christopher Sharp from the Liberation Times. He's a great source, my friends. Someone who you may want to follow on X or subscribe to his channel. He's someone we also support here from Disclosure Tonight. He has said I've reported on the mystery drones for some time now. Since reporting on them, the most interesting comments I read last year came from Belgium's defense minister, Theo Freknen. He stated, "The jammer didn't work because they tested our radio frequency and changed it. They have their own frequencies. An amateur doesn't know how to do that." So clearly we're dealing with these drones. These aren't amateur. These are clearly coming from a military adversary with advanced technology, not advanced to the point of what you'd be looking at for a non-human intelligence, but something coming from a well thought out adversary. I don't think it's U.S. tech. This is clearly something potentially coming from China, not necessarily Russia, because, well, they're a little bit behind these days. Let's continue.
Can be obtained and gleaned if you have drone swarms that are hovering over these critical military installations for up to 4 hours at a time.
Well, it's once again, it's a indication of serious concern, because it's one thing to observe, it's another thing to turn that observation into the kind of lethal attacks that we saw Ukraine execute against the Russians.
Hold on, let's leave the Russians and Ukraine out of this. But the truth of the matter is, back in 2019, when we had all those drones that were coming in over the, Colorado, Wyoming, that whole area, if you want to call it, out in the west of the Midwest for that matter, these drones were huge, and they were loitering for sometimes 3-4 hours at a time. So are we going to say that now, because we have these drones that are coming over a military base today, we're talking 7, 8 years later, that they're hanging out for 4 hours, that's something big? Well, if it is, it happened years ago, and we're seeing that same kind of technology going and operating now in impunity, not over the farmland, but over our military bases, which again begs the question, why in the hell are they letting these things fly and continue with impunity? It's like we're fucking paralyzed. Do you think China? Do you think Russia? Do you think North Korea? Iran would allow these kind of drones to come in and be over their nuclear bases? I don't think so. Let's continue.
I think that's a good point.
Daryl, go ahead, actually.
I was going to say, I think that's
some
a
of
good
their
point. I mean, there's the fact that they're over our bases is a big deal, right? I mean, and if it's getting out in the press that we're not doing anything about it, then we're probably not doing anything about it. And so if you do have a rogue band of people, right, that get paid money not to kill somebody, but to go spy with our cool tech drone, maybe you can do that on the black market. I mean, with Bitcoin and...
But we're talking about drones that are like agricultural size, things that are huge, not like the little small stuff you get from Amazon and stuff, but they're literally, if you want to call it, industrial size objects, especially with that kind of a battery power to keep them going for so many hours. They have advanced power sources, we could say that, right?
Absolutely. It's just there does seem to be, like, we need more clarity as the people, the citizens of the United States, to know, are fucking drones flying over our 70-year-old aircraft, the B-52.
Yeah, but it seems like they're trying to protect them with technology from that age as well.
Yeah, right. And they could be spying. Are they putting nuclear shit on here? I mean, I get it. They're spying.
Exactly.
There's some spying going on.
All right, let's continue some more. Here we go.
Publicized activities where they launched drones out of trucks and destroyed several Russian long-range bombers. So that, quite frankly, is the area of concern. And that's why I say we really need to increase our attention on taking action. I would suggest that command and control is an extraordinarily important piece of this equation. And that authority to engage drones indicating hostile intent needs to be distributed down to the lowest possible levels. And these were all issues that the military is addressing and is facing. But we do need to turn up the emphasis and investment in this area.
General Dave Deptula, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Support journalism you trust. Support.
Interesting enough. I can't wait to see where this all goes with the drones and everything to that extent. Let me go ahead and get this up and going here again. All right, here we go. Great conversation so far tonight, my friends. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. Let me go ahead and go through my feed, see if there's anything we haven't missed. There always is, for that matter. Oh, let's see where we're at. I think we've about got it. Daryl, is there anything else or from anyone else in the back that we haven't covered here tonight?
No, I'm totally satisfied and totally hyped about the Wednesday show. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be fun. On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank some of our friends who have given us super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? It's not going to be everybody. Daryl, I know you gave one for $10, but it's not showing up in our feed for whatever reason that might be. I had it screwed up for a little bit, but I want to thank Peggy and Steve. Thank you, Daryl, for the super chat.
But thanks for noticing.
Yeah, absolutely. Peggy and Steve, thank you very much. Appreciate that super chat. Mr. Catfish 2100, The Coin 405, Truth Seeker, April, and Steve Mateo. Thank you, everybody, for everything you do here at Disclosure tonight. We try to give you the best we can, and can't wait to see everybody Wednesday for the launch of the Artemis mission. Should be a good one. And as we say at the end of every one of our episodes of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. See you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.